evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Tuesdays with Terrence. My name is Terrence Bardui. Some people call me H. Some people call me Havis. Some people call me Terrence. Some people call me Mr. Bardui. And some people call me Little Boy. That's Little Boy coming all the way back from the 767. Whitey Kubuli, the Commonwealth of Dominica. Dominica made me, Boston raised me. Now the South sustains me. Let me make sure Instagram, we can see it on Instagram. Yeah, we're live on Instagram, man. We're live on Instagram. So right now we're streaming on Bardui Financial Services on YouTube. You can go watch it there if anybody wants to. You can watch it on X, which is formerly Twitter, HTB964. We can watch it on Instagram, HTB964, or my business page, Bardui Financial Services, BFS Financial Services. You can watch me on LinkedIn, on Havers Bardui, H. Terrence Bardui on LinkedIn, Bardui Financial Services on Facebook. And I think we're having some technical difficulties on my regular Facebook page, which is Havers Bardui. But I got to talk to StreamYard to figure out how we're going to fix that. So actually, it's working. Let me try. Hold on. Let's make it public. Let's make it public. Oh, it's working. Let's make it public. Let's make it public. Let's make it public. Hope everybody's doing working. All right. Let me turn that down. Let me turn down the volume. Let me turn down the volume. It's working fine. How are you beautiful people doing? Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's doing well. I am doing well, man. I'm so excited for Tuesdays with Terrence tonight. Let me turn my music on. And let me tell you guys something, basketball season is over, right? And you know who won the championship, right? I grew up in Boston, Massachusetts. I spent most of my life in Boston, Massachusetts. As you all know, I was born in the Caribbean. And as a little kid, I moved to Boston in the 70s. So that's where I grew up. And it's one of those things where this is a client actually calling me right now, and I have to tell this client this is someone who contacted me for insurance. I called them on Sunday, which was Father's Day, and they said they can't talk. So I'm going to tell that person I'm doing a live podcast right now with Mr. I can't even tell him who my guest is, but I am doing a podcast now. I will call you after. I will call you after. You can watch it too. Actually, you should. So you see, I'm working when I'm doing my podcast. I'm going to say go to Bardui Financial Services on YouTube, or Havers Bardui on Facebook. It's public. Havers Bardui on Facebook. We're talking insurance. We are talking insurance. Oh my gosh. Can you believe this, folks? I'm working. So I hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to Tuesdays with Terrence. Hope you're doing fine. Hope you're doing fine. I'm doing fine. People are starting to come in. Let's just make sure everyone can see me. It's public. Hopefully everybody can see me now. Welcome to another episode with Tuesdays with Terrence. I hope people are coming in. Welcome. I have a very special guest tonight. And believe me, he's not just a father. He's not just a husband. He's not just a financial professional. He's a guy who helps me make a lot of money. And I love that. And you're going to get to learn about him in a minute. You can see it scrolling. His name is Mr. Mark Creighton. He's original vice president from Mutal Trust Life Solutions, a Pan-American company. He's coming on in a minute. But just before we do that, let me see who's on so I can give a shout out to him. If people are watching, Venus, the ABR queen, welcome, partner. Welcome to Tuesdays with Terrence. Other people might be coming in pretty soon. So while you all are doing this, maybe I should play a little music. Last night, something great happened. For those of you who are pretending that you don't know what happened, right? You're lying. You know why you're lying? Because it's basketball season as of last night. And where did I grow up? Area code 617. What was the last time we won a championship? It was June 17th, 2008, 2009. Yesterday was June 17th, and the Boston Celtics won. So because of that, we will play this song for you, for all the losers. Here we go. Yeah, Boston Celtics, congratulations. Yes, yes. I got my championship ring on too. Yes. Yes, yes. Time after time. Woo! I'll do my sentence. We. Yes. We are the champions. Welcome, everybody. Boston Celtics 2024 champions. Hold on. Are we the champions? They might mute this because Facebook like to mute people's stuff. Listen, we don't own the rights to this music. All right. It's only for entertainment purposes only. All right. We're not monetizing anything from this song. But what does the song say? Boston Celtics, we are the champions. Yes, 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 yes. NBA champions of the world, Venus. Good evening, Miss Peach Goodwill, and whoever else is tuning in. Some of you, if you don't say hello, I cannot recognize you. I'm really excited tonight. I have a very special guest. I'm drinking water. You see my water right here, and I'm minding my business. I'm drinking water, I'm minding my business. But guys, I want to give my guests this special time. So we're going to start, but just before we do that, let's play our theme song. Our theme song says you don't have to be a star to be on my show. You don't have to have 1 million to be on my show. But remember, folks, you are stars. You are champions. And I'm very grateful to each and every one of you who watch the show every Tuesday at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So because of that, we're going to play our theme song. And as we play our theme song and we get our guest is in the green room, he's having a cocktail, I think. But let's try to get him on. And while we're doing that, here's our theme song. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to be a star to be on my show, but I got a superstar tonight. Welcome to Tuesdays with Terrence. Yes, yes. Woo! Come, family.
Family, come as you are with just your heart, and I'll help you win. Are you rejected or hurt? To me, your word much more than
I don't need no superstars, but I got one tonight.
No, I don't need no superstar, 'cause I'll accept you as you are. You won't be tonight, 'cause I'm satisfied with the help that I can provide. You don't have to be rich family to be on my show. You don't have to have 1 million family to be on my show.
Boom. Listen, man, you don't have to be rich. You don't have to have 1 million to be on my show. But tonight, folks, I have a very special guest. You see, some of you have heard me talking about infinite banking. We just celebrated Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers, all the dads. I had a great time. For those of you who are watching, my guest tonight is a father. He is a husband, and he's a financial professional. You can see it scrolling, just like CNN, scrolling at the bottom of the live. It basically said his name is Mr. Mark Creighton. He is original vice president with Mutual Trust Life Solutions, a Pan-American company, and he's actually our guy for infinite banking. So tonight, as I introduce Mr. Mark, let me unmute him and let me get a song ready for him, because I want to play a special song, one of his favorite songs. I never heard of this band before, but he told me that's what he likes. So as I bring him on, this is what Mark looks like. Let me give him a solo screen. Bring him on, bring him on, bring him on, bring him on. Mr. Mark, how you doing? There he is.
Good evening, H.
How you doing, sir? There he is.
Doing great. I am happy.
Mark,
Your love
My
is
very first podcast, and I'm glad it's with you.
like a radiant diamond.
need to breathe.
Inside of
This is the song.
you cannot contain.
His favorite band.
Your love will
Check them out. Need to breathe.
surely come find us like blazing wildfire.
Woo! Your love will find us like blazing wildfire. Mr. Mark, make sure your volume is all the way up, sir, so I can hear you. How are you doing, young man?
I am doing terrific, H. I want to thank you for having me. This is my very first podcast. I'm excited.
Oh, your very first podcast. So so now I feel honored. I am so glad, man. You know, Mark, there's so many things that we talk about. Good evening. I want to say to those who are watching, Miss Donalyn Coffee all the way in Jacksonville, Florida. I want to say hello to Venus all the way in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, Peaches Goodwill, Petersburg, Virginia, and anybody else who's watching tonight. Welcome to Tuesdays with Terrence, as I try to give you guys a shout out. If you don't say hello, I can't shout you out. You can watch it on Facebook. You can watch it on Instagram. You can watch it on X, formerly Twitter. You can watch it on YouTube. You can watch it on LinkedIn. You can even watch it on StreamYard. Welcome to Tuesdays with Terrence. Mr. Mark. So tell us, Mark, just before we start, I know you are the regional vice president with Mutual Trust Life Solutions, a Pan-American company. So where are you coming? Give us about 2 minutes and tell us, where are you talking to us live from, a little bit about your background, where you grew up, and exactly what you do at Mutual Trust Life Solutions, a Pan-American company. There you go, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Today I happen to be coming from my home office, my home-based office. When I'm not on the road, this is where you find me. I'm out in West suburban Chicago, about 20 miles from downtown. Beautiful little suburb, quiet little suburb, born and raised here. Family's all located here. I've been with Mutual Trust for 20 years. Started out on the sales team, on the sales desk, helping agents on a more direct personal basis, and started as a regional vice president in 2016, 2017. Gives me an opportunity to go expand our base, talk to agents like you and the agency you work with, ACA, about how important life insurance is, what it can do. It's not, I'll talk more and more about this at length, I'm sure, but so often I think we all grew up thinking this was just something that was just death benefit. It's so much more than that. So important.
Mark, and you're so right. People think life insurance is because you're going to die. Life insurance is because your loved ones are going to live, and you're going to live, and there's living benefits we'll talk about as well. But, I want to say welcome to Mr. Addison Esprit, watching all the way from Toronto, Canada. I want to say hello to Ms. Delphina LeBlanc, watching all the way from Ontario, Canada. So, Mr. Mark, I just want you to know people are watching from the Caribbean, Europe, Canada, sometimes Mexico, the U.S. People are watching you from all over, and I know Pan American is a Caribbean company. As a matter of fact, one of my childhood friends writes for Pan American in St. Martin, Miss Atlin Pittman. Sometimes she joins the show. Hopefully she joins. We'll give her a shout out. And to all the Donalyn Coffee and everybody else who's watching tonight, my special guest is Mr. Mark Creighton. I know you're a dad and you're a father, and you're not just someone who talks it, you actually live it. And we just celebrated Father's Day on Sunday, Mark, and I know you had a good time with your family. Tell us a little bit about your dad, nothing personal, but what you enjoyed growing up, if you want to, and how do you normally celebrate Father's Day, and what you think fathers What's their role in the home, especially for financial services?
Well, it's kind of funny going back all the way to my childhood. My father worked in an actuary department for a life insurance company, and I had no idea what that meant. None, zero. He played with numbers. That's all.
He's a mathematician.
He was a mathematician, and I guess that's where I got my math skills. So I'm ever thankful for them. But I grew up thinking I was going to be a general manager of a baseball team. Well, first I thought I was going to be a shortstop, but didn't have the skills quite to get that far. Then I thought I was going to be a general manager, and I still do. That's what I'm going to do. This is my day job until I'm a general manager. But I learned at an early age, having seen some family conversations about, we lose the ones we love, right? It's a fact of life, and the importance of life insurance. And as I grew up, I got into accounting. Again, numbers, it was what I knew. And I ended up in an insurance company. I was on the accounting side of things, and I happened to sit next to the sales team. And for 7 years, I was doing what I loved, and I think successful at it. I was being rewarded in promotions, and they liked what I was doing, and I liked it. But I kept hearing the salespeople talk. And when I listened to them talking to agents, helping position solutions for their clients, it just stuck, and it just gnawed at me that was something I wanted to do. And just over 20 years ago, or no, a little bit before that, I had an opportunity while I was still at the other company. I had to beg and plead my way into a sales role. A creative role. I'm not a creative guy. People with numbers aren't creative. But there was something about the importance of talking about the solutions that just drew me into that side of the career. And so for 22 years now, that's what I've been doing. I landed at Mutual Trust 20 years ago, and I've never been happier with my daily life, the things I do, the people I get to talk to, and the immense change and impact that you have on lives. Other agents we work with.
I'm glad you said that, because sometimes people think that we just try to sell insurance. They don't understand that we're trying to change zip codes. We want to pass transferable wealth, non-taxable transferable wealth back into our communities. I want to say welcome to Miss Lucinda Bardui Alfred, my cousin, all the way in the Commonwealth of Dominica. Maho, Jamaho. That's where my mother's from as well. Welcome tonight. I want to say welcome to everybody who's watching. I want to make sure I give everybody a shout out. So everybody who's watching, welcome. If you say hello, I'll be able to shout you out. My special guest is Mr. Mark Creighton, Regional Vice President with Mutual Trust Life Solutions, a Pan-American company. And Mark trains us on a lot of different concepts that we use, to help families protect what they have. Now, Mark, this is one of the things I always tell people, right? People don't realize that protecting your income is valuable, because they always talk about, I got stuff on the job, but they don't realize about some of the living benefits that's out there. I know one of the things that Mutual Trust does, Mutual Trust Life Solutions, do have some living benefits for clients, right? And what would you tell people who are watching who may have some life insurance or don't have life insurance, and they're thinking about, should I get life insurance with living benefits? What would you say to them, sir? What would you say to them?
My number one thing, and it's probably my greatest pet peeve, is listening to what you see on your CNN, your social media, that life insurance is a commodity. Buy term and get rid of it. You won't need it.
Preach.
There's not a problem with the term life insurance policy. It serves a specific purpose at times. All insurance does. But there's so much more to it. I think what you said is just key. Life insurance is for those you love, because you love. It should be some of what you have, but it's more than just what you're leaving behind. Hey, I want to make sure my family's taken care of, and if I do everything right, my wife isn't going to need the death benefit that I have in place on me. great. I want to bless my kids. And you didn't mention that I'm also a grandfather. We've got
That's
three.
right. That's right. You are.
We got 3 with 2 more on the way. I will have 5 grandchildren under 2.5 years of age by Christmas. It's a little nuts. I guess our daughters have proved they're very fertile and they're an ever growing family. But it's not a commodity, and it's something that you need to think about more than just, I'm never going to enjoy it. No, that's far. We talk about it all the time. How can you use this today? It protects my family now, and it's going to grow my wealth and enrich my family when I'm gone. What kind of legacy would you like to leave your family? That's mine.
Wow. It's so funny you said that, because people don't understand. And one of the things that's troubling me, it doesn't trouble me as much anymore, because we're celebrating 4 years of Tuesdays with Terrence. I started during the pandemic, and that was even before, Mark, Mutual Trust, because I wasn't even appointed with Mutual Trust. I didn't believe in the infinite banking concept, not the infinite banking concept, the get out of debt program, which was foolish on my part. And now I'm a great proponent of that. But I want to tell you, Mark, 4 years ago when I started, I didn't realize the impact of what your company does. For example, we talked about, protecting your income, with income protection. And you just talked about legacies. You talked about your children and your grandchildren. What people don't understand is, I was telling someone the other day, we had a meeting at ACA, American Classic Agency, the company that cares. You can see above my left shoulder here. And I can tell them, and we were talking about people who are uninsurable. And I said, there's a way to take care of that. Everybody, when they're 2 weeks old, we insure them. And boom, we have that, because usually kids are not diagnosed as autistic at 2 weeks old. You don't have diabetes and all these different things at 2 weeks old. We need to do it earlier. So, Mark, I believe that, your company is one of the great companies for a concept that we call infinite banking. All right. Now, a lot of people think infinite banking is a brick and mortar building. It's actually a concept. And I know I did one for a client actually last year. We dropped $100,000 into the legacy, and now she wants to use it to pay off a debt, and then she's going to pay it back, which is great. Can you just explain, without giving advice, can you explain to people why is it paramount that people need to start using concepts like the legacy? They don't know what the legacy is, but we'll just say, whether it's an IUL or index universal life or whole life insurance, and start using these concepts that you can borrow. Because we had a training a couple of weeks ago, and you gave some great tips, and you said, there's a term that you wrote down, and I made it in the post. I can't remember what it was, but you articulated why it's so paramount, especially for people with money in the bank who are getting chicken feed and don't understand that money is there so people can see it, lawsuits, the government can see it, but in an infinite banking concept, it's protected. Can you elaborate on that a little bit, please, sir?
Yeah, and we've got not enough time to talk about all the potential uses.
That's right. That's right.
But very, very simply put, capital is king. Whether you're an individual on this call and you work in a company, or whether you have your own business, capital is king. And every day we're relying on the money we have, the money we wish we had, to make the decisions and do the things we want in life. And when it comes time to utilization of capital, you got to make decisions on where you're going to go. The infinite banking concept is a solution or a thought process that puts the banking function back in your hands. That I've got an asset. I've got capital at my control. I decide when I want to use it, what I want to use it for, how I want to use it, and I don't have to ask permission. And that, to me, is the best thing. It's all wrapped inside the best safe asset class product there is in the marketplace, which is whole life insurance. And what I know, and we can elaborate later if you'd like, but I'm using it myself. So I've got a policy that protects my wife and my family but I also have something that's allowing me to create additional growth because there's an opportunity I have. And instead of going to a bank and playing around with the mortgage rates where they are, I've got control of an asset where I can do what I want to do to grow my wealth.
Amen. Amen. It's so funny that you said that because people don't understand that's the way you can actually use your money to leverage and build wealth. And I'm a huge advocate of that. You know, it's so funny. I want to say welcome to my sister, Miss June Bardui, Ansem, all the way in Boston, Massachusetts, watching. I want to say hello to Miss Esther Duran Casimir in St. Martin in the Caribbean, and all others who are watching right now. Elizabeth Bardui in Brooklyn, New York, and everybody else who's watching. Welcome to Tuesdays with Terrence. My special guest is Mr. Mark Creighton, Regional Vice President with Mutual Trust Solutions, a Pan-American company, and he's giving you some nuggets and some dimes and some tips on why you should be using what we do in order to not just scale what you're trying to do, but also protect it and grow it guaranteed. So, Mark, there's a lot of people that love banks, especially people from the Caribbean. They trust banks and credit union like it's going out of business because that's all they do. Okay. And sometimes I try to educate some of these people. I was just talking to this client a couple months ago, and I'm trying to get her to drop with Mutual Trust 150 G's, right? But the point about it is she is bank. And sometimes I want to shake her, but I can't. I have to educate her. So why is it better to use the infinite banking concept and companies like Mutual Trust Life Solutions that put it in CDs and in savings accounts of banks? Why, sir?
Yeah, it's real simple. And hey, banks are great. The banks serve an important function in our life.
Yes, they do.
They're
write checks, pay my bills.
Yeah, they're a conduit and they're our channel for quick cash transactions. But when I think about a bank, it's you're subject and you're held to their standards and their terms.
Right.
First off, when you want a loan, you walk into a bank, you talk to a loan officer, and you essentially have to prove you don't need the money.
Exactly.
Or they'll give it to you. And then when they give it to you, they tell you, what are the terms? Okay.
That's right.
Here's your money. This is the cost. And this is how you're going to pay me back. And if you don't abide by their terms, bad things happen. Credit rating goes down, late fees, penalties, repossession, all kinds of things. And we know that life happens and sometimes times are tough. And when
That's
times
right.
are tough, are banks willing to negotiate with you? Maybe yes, maybe no. I kid around. I don't kid around. This is actually true. Recently, my bank, well-known bank, you guys have all heard of it, they sent me an offer. You are a great client, and we've got a deal for you. You are pre-approved. All you've got to do is pick the terms of your car loan. You're a pre-approved up to $45,000 of purchase price or finance price, I guess I should say.
Right.
$45,000 the finance price. All you got to do is pick the terms. My interest rates I had to choose from were 11 1/4, 11 1/2, and 11 3/4. Do I want to finance a car at those rates? And I'm a good client. My credit score is excellent. They
And they told you you're a good client.
they targeted me for a reason, but evidently they targeted me because they think I'm foolish. Right. What do I have? Oh, I've got a policy. I could pull a loan at 5% right now out of my own money. If I can't find anything better, I can choose to finance myself. Hey, sometimes I use the bank's money because it's cheap, it's easy, and I don't mind the terms. But at every single moment, I know I can make them go away.
It's so funny you said that because people don't understand that leverage is king. When you have, cash is king, but credit is queen. And if you have the good credit, if you can get a better rate, use it. But sometimes you got to use what we call OPM, other people's money, right? I want to say welcome to Mr. Troy Holt, our business partner over here at ACA, all the way in Pensacola, Florida. Welcome to Daphne Paul, watching from Queens, New York, and everybody else who's watching. Miss Connie Herold is watching as well, and everybody else who I can't see, who I haven't said hello. If you can't say hello, I can't really shout you out. But I want to say my special guest is Mr. Mark Creighton, Regional Vice President with Mutual Trust Life Solutions, a Pan-American company. We're talking about the benefits of insurance and using it as a bank and using it to leverage and create wealth. You know, Mark, you talked about your legacy. You talked about you're a father, you're a grandfather as well, you're a husband, you know, your dad was an actuary. So basically insurance is kind of in your bones, right? But even if it wasn't in your bones, with the knowledge that you have now, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you'd be making the same decisions because you have the knowledge. And it's my job to educate people. And that's why I come on this line, because I can see Beth Amato is watching from Pine Coast, Pine Coast, I can't even say it, Florida. My God, south of Jacksonville. I can't even say her town real quick. I'm having a little mental block here. But she's a client of Mutual Trust Solutions. She was my first client for the Get Out of Debt. Well, after I got into Mutual Trust, and she's watching, she's like, "Ooh la la!" She has it. She has it. You know, she has a horizon value. You know, and she's building cash. And whenever they're ready, they can pay off their home in time. You know, and she's doing it. And she always comes on the show. And she says, "I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it." And she is in Florida. I know you're in Florida. I just couldn't remember your town. But the funny thing about it is, Mark, when I say funny, I don't mean hilarious. I mean peculiar, that some people don't and some people do get it. Palm Coast, that's right. Palm Coast, Florida. I was in a mental block. You know, my family's down there. My mother's buried in Palm Coast. She died there. But the thing about it is, Mark, what would you say to people who, I'll give you an example. I hope I don't get in trouble. I'm not going to call any names. I have a client, and you saw it, Mark, or we can't call your name, who, you know, I wrote a case, a great case. It was like $2,000 a month, you know, and they would decline the husband because they had a very high A1C, almost 12. That means for diabetes. So basically, by me telling you that, I'm basically saving your life. In situations like that, the spouse could do it. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they don't want to because I don't know if it's ego. I'm not saying that's what it is in that case, because I've known this person for a long time, over 44 years. You know, a high school classmate in Boston. But people sometimes don't realize, what advice would you give to someone who wants to get out of debt? Use your program, our program, the Get Out of Debt program, using our Mutual Trust Life Solutions Horizon Value product, and the spouse, the other spouse qualifies, but one doesn't. What would you say to them, Mark? Because this is paramount, and I hope they're watching tonight.
Well, number one, if this is something that you're interested in, and you haven't pulled the trigger to call up my friend H yet, I think you need to do that quickly. If you've got some health concerns, because we can work with a number of clients. Health conditions shouldn't ever stop anybody, and quite honestly, gives you an opportunity to learn. And maybe there's some things you need to correct. I found out about myself when I went through the process. There were a couple things. Hey, I need a little bit of better lifestyle. I was diagnosed diabetic 2 months before I got my first policy, and controlled type 2. Nothing, same thing everybody else, 80% of this country has right now, but I was able to get a policy. I think from a, there's the death benefit aspect, and that's important to place. But from a cash accumulation, a wealth preservation, a wealth creation, and a wealth transference tool, that life insurance is going to work. And so if there's an opportunity to pivot and consider somebody else in the household, absolutely take advantage of that opportunity and pursue that. Learn about the concept, speak to a qualified professional. Don't rely on your research on Google and anywhere else. Those are people, when you hear them talk negatively about permanent life insurance, Those are people who are probably paid by Wall Street to get you to give their money to Wall Street, the banks, anybody else, not life insurance. My company, my format of the company has been around for over 200 years. We were open during the Great Depression. We've survived every crisis there is. We did not call bank holidays. We've been there for the benefit of our consumers, not for the benefit of stockholders. We're a different kind of company. And really the strategy, infinite banking we're talking about, is essentially a 200-year-old strategy.
And I'm glad you said that, Mark. Thank you so much. You mean the Rockefellers use that concept? The Rothschilds. I mean, I don't care what your political affiliation is. I believe the current president, Joe Biden, got about 6 or 7 of those. All of them in Congress got it, but no one's telling you about it. And that's why I'm on this crusade. And that's why Mark comes to do trainings for our agency, American Classic Agency, so that we can inform you. You don't have to be rich. What did the theme song say? You don't have to be a star. You don't have to have $1 million to be on my show. In other words, what it's trying to tell you is you do what you can afford. And what happens there, a lot of people don't realize that the wealthy are using that. They're not telling you. The government, the banks, Mark, whatever that big bank you're talking about, they have what's called BOLI, bank-owned life insurance, and the corporations have COLI. Like Walmart and places like Target, they have COLI, corporate-owned life insurance, and they use these concepts. They're just not telling people. So I told someone the other day, I have a client right now. I won't call the client's name, but her mother's watching. Her mother is in Queens, New York. She's watching right now, and she's the one who gave me the referral. And it's a childhood friend. She's known me all my life, over 55 years. I mean, gosh, we grew up together. And her daughter works for one of these big companies, right? One of those big firms. And when she started looking, when she learned about the Get Out of Debt program and she started looking about BOLI, she called me. She said, Havis, why didn't I know about that? When she saw the balance sheets and saw how much billions of dollars her bank and her clients, and believe me, this woman is really educated and smart, all right? And her family, when they found out, she's one of my bigger clients. And the point I'm trying to make here is because the people who are educated and smart are getting it. So it's a little harder for the uneducated ones sometimes, because sometimes, Mark, you know what ticks me off? People send me TikTok and Instagram videos about infinite banking concepts. I get really pissed. You know why? Because I've been talking about it for years, and I've been talking about my life for at least 4 years. I'm into my 5th year, every week talking about this concept. You sending me those videos. Now, it underscores and underlines what I'm talking about. I'm not really mad. It's a joke. What I'm saying is I've been telling you all about that. But you see, my name is not a big shot. I'm not a big shot telling you about it. You know what? Do your research and stop watching all the naysayers. I had to tell one of my clients that she's probably watching, and she'll probably watch. She thinks I'm talking about her all the time. I'm not. You're listening to the wrong people. Listen. If you properly fund an index universal life, and we don't have time to get into that, or if you use whole life insurance and you use it properly, you can create wealth for your family that you can access. And if, God forbid, something happens to you, you get sick, you can access it. If you're terminally ill, you can access it. And God forbid, your untimely demise, your family get tax-free transferable wealth. And that's what we do, Mark. And I make no apologies. I told my guests and clients and my Facebook platform and all my social media platform, you all want me to stop talking about this? Everybody, meet me with an appointment. You don't have to buy anything from me. Show me your plan. And if everybody in the world has one, we can stop. But you know what? Everybody in the world don't have one. I have a sister who's watching right now. I won't call her name, but she's watching. She hit me up the other day. She was telling me about the same thing about GoFundMes. My point I'm trying to make here is this. Folks, let's prepare. Let's do it while you're healthy and while you're young. So, Mark, you have grandkids and you have kids. Do they have plans, sir?
Yes, of course they do. In fact, I was just talking to my daughter and son-in-law on Father's Day, and they're a growing family. My daughter had, that grandson is 14 months old, and they've got another one due in December. And so I started talking to him. I'm like, oh, growing family, you know what this means. We need to sit down and talk about life insurance again. And they roll their eyes. They think it's a joke, but they understand that, I'm like, talked to my daughter. I said, hey, nothing's going to happen. I love Conrad, but what if something happened to you? Would you trust Conrad to do this all by himself, or would you rather he has some resources to help him raise those kids when you're gone? And she's like, okay, I'll do it. And then I asked him the same question. He's like, well, she'd be great. I'm like, I know, but you're going to get it anyway because you need to take care of my daughter and those babies.
Boom.
And it's, it's about all of it. Death benefit's important. Life if I've got a minute to indulge a sad story.
Go ahead, sir. Please do.
So my wife and I, this is our second marriage each. We remarried almost 4 years ago now.
Okay.
And so, as we were getting closer to that day, I knew I was going to marry her. I was pretty sure I'd be able to. I think I was able to fool her enough where she was going to say yes if I asked. And so in preparation for that, I got more life insurance, and it was solely, it was a death benefit oriented purchase. I was looking to maximize the death benefit I got because I wanted to protect her. Because the second we get together, her maintenance is gone. She's reliant on her income, and she has a nice job, but she's also reliant on me. I want to provide her a lifestyle, or without me, a lifestyle that will allow her to live out our dream, which is to spend time with our kids, to bless our kids and grandkids in ways that we want to. And so I put that policy in place. And so I got married at 54, and this is the sad part of the story. My wife is great. My marriage is great. We're married. But last year, at the age of 54, my brother was diagnosed with cancer 3 days after we lost our mom from cancer. And he died 10 weeks later. And the truth of the thing is, his oldest had just graduated high school about the time just after he was diagnosed. And luckily, blessed that I had a brother who actually, for the one time in his life, he actually listened to his older brother, and they did put life insurance in place to protect the family, because nothing's guaranteed anymore. It's scary. There's more cancer diagnoses right now. Now is the time. Do these things before you can't. But that life insurance policy, they were using it. That was cash accumulation that was accessible to them, and they used it for the different things they needed to do. It served as a down payment on a house when they moved. It served as this. It served at that. And most importantly, the time they needed it the most, they were able to use it.
Wow, that's a great story. When I say great, no, sorry for you losing.
No.
When I say the great story, man, he listened to you, and I always tell people, family and friends, like I'm like you as well. Second marriage as well, blended family as well. I did the same thing, and I have 5 policies, and I need to get more, and I have 3 kids, biological kids. And I made sure, if God forbid something happens to me today, that everybody, the 3 kids and my wife is protected. And I did that. The reason why I did that, not because I'm in the industry. I do it because I understand the concept. And a lot of people, what bothers me is that they're looking at it as a bill. I don't. I rather eat Roman noodles and pay my premiums. But some people are not like that. What used to hurt me was I would see people that I know personally, discount the value of it. I have a friend, who recently suffered a stroke. And after they suffered a stroke, they tell me, find something for them. And we had that conversation. I said, for years you knew me. I kept talking to you about it. And some people, I don't know how to say it nicely. Like they think you have to be a billionaire or a millionaire to give them advice. And I'm like, how foolish. I'm in the industry. So what they do is they watch TV commercials, they get stuff in the mail, or they listen to people and they do make some foolish mistakes. And I'm not mad at them. That's their prerogative. You know, there was a singer, Bobby Brown from New Edition in Boston. You know, when he went solo, he has a song. It's my prerogative. It's your prerogative, and that's okay. But what I do know is that when life happens, man, I don't feel sorry for people who know me, who know what I do, and I've advocated for it. And I think people should be flocking to me. That's what I believe. But we're in an industry where people do not flock to. So what I do is I try to educate them one by one, and hopefully they can do that. I want to say welcome to Miss Carmen Joseph, all the way in Antigua in the Caribbean. Welcome to Tuesdays with Terrence and everybody else who's watching tonight. My very special guest, and time is running away from us. We only got 50 minutes left, is Mr. Mark Creighton, Regional Vice President of Mutal Trust Life Solutions, a Pan-American company. He's giving you a personal story about his brother. He's giving you a personal story about when he got remarried. He's told you what he told his daughter and his son-in-law. I mean, I got 3 kids, none of them married yet, and I'll do the same thing. You know, my daughter listened to me, my son, we did that, they listened, and she's doing the same thing. So I'm praying that one day when I become a granddad, you know, they will start it. And if people would listen to me, people who know me, down the road, their kids and their grandkids would be thanking me, even when I'm dead, for putting something in place for them. But people are hard-headed, they're stubborn, they're petty, and that's okay. But you know what? Life happens. And what it does, Mark, it allows me to continue to push harder. You got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this. And the reason why I'm so passionate about what I do is because middle American families, if the wealthy are doing it, and we are telling you that you should do it, and it's the government is not telling you because they know the benefits of it. The banks are not telling you, but they're doing it. There must be a secret why they're not telling you. And remember, do your own research. Talk to a licensed. You don't want to talk to me? Venus, the ABR Queen, is on here right now. Troy Holt is on there right now. Peach Goodwill is on there right now. Talk to them. They're licensed. They'll get licensed in your state, and they will tell you what you need to do. So, Mark, time is running from us. We don't have much time. Sir, listen to this. We talked about income protection. We talked about debt elimination. Now, legacy creation is a beautiful thing. We talked about it briefly. But just before we go, sir, you know, I want you to tell people that it doesn't matter if you have term, and we don't have the time to get into that, index universal life, what we call IUL, or whole life, or even if they have securities as a variable universal life, the value of life insurance 101, the value of life insurance. I'm going to give you a solo screen and give you 2 minutes, sir. Go ahead, talk to us.
It's real simple. And H, you make so many great points there. Life insurance has been, and always will be the best source of wealth creation in this country. When you talk about the Rockefellers, for instance, that is an incredible example. They created their wealth, but how did they pass it on? How did they increase their wealth later? It was through life insurance. The next generation, the generation after that, and 10 generations after that are set for life because that family understood the importance of life insurance. It is wealth protection. It is wealth protection that, hey, if I spend down all my assets and I'm outliving my retirement, I've got an option. It is wealth protection. If something happens to me in my working years, I've got a benefit to help our family so that we can keep what we have. It is wealth protection. It is, making sure that our nest egg is taken care of, because if something happens to me tomorrow, my wife is okay and has something to live on. And if we do everything right at the very end, in addition to having provided all that protection, it is passed on to our kids who can use it to invest in their grandkids. Now, I'd like to say that I've got $70 million of life insurance on me. I don't, but I've got a lot. I've got enough. And if it's enough that helps our kids pay for college for our grandkids, what does that do later on? It's just wealth creation, legacy creation.
I love that. Wealth creation, legacy creation. What's sad sometimes, I want to say welcome to Bernadette Williams who's watching. Just before we close up, Mark, we're going to do a quick little thing about annuities. Some of these people are retiring. Some of them have monies at former jobs in banks. We can put them in annuities. We'll talk about that in a minute. But you know what, Mark? What's sad to me is that when someone has the knowledge, whether it's Venus is watching the ABR Queen. It says Venus, the ABR Queen Stevens. Her husband recently had a situation with a critical illness, but he had listened to her and he did it. And they were able to have access to pool money out of that because of his cancer. Now, I want to say this. I don't know what it is about why people do not want to use advice from people in the know. I don't know if it's a jealousy thing. I don't know what it is. It sometimes it breaks my heart and it doesn't break my heart because I know, what's great in Venus' situation, her husband listened to her and he did it. In some families, it doesn't go that way. The husband does, the wife doesn't, or the wife does, the husband doesn't, or the kid does, or the uncle does. And you can't worry about that. All you can do is take care of you. Take care of you. And I know I saw a video on social media where this family, where they created a trust, and the trust owns all the policies and all the family members are insured. And when you die, just like the Rockefellers, the death benefit goes to the trust. They can access money. They can access money in there. The funny thing about it, Mark, is that people don't understand. And I have to continue telling them, and it sounds like I'm angry. I'm not angry. People think when I post and I'm angry. No, I'm passionate. It hurts my heart. I'm hurting for you to do it, And some of you who are watching, you've had jobs. Some of you are retiring. Some of you are in your 50s. You've saved some cash in the bank. You should be using this concept. So, Mark, for people who have money in the bank and people who have jobs and annuities, June is Annuity Awareness Month, Mark. I don't know if you're aware of that, but it is. Why is some of the reasons why people should use annuities, which is an insurance product, to protect and guarantee their retirement? Why?
Annuities and life insurance, they are great financial tools. They accomplish, or they're directed to accomplish a couple of different things. Annuities are excellent at providing income later in life, and the annuity products that are out now are so far advanced from where they used to be that the types of benefits that are included, they have living benefits also. That you were talking about somebody who might not be insurable. That's a vehicle that can be considered also. And I don't know how much we're going to be able to rely on Social Security. They say it's around right now, but absolutely, I've heard some of the CEOs of some of the big financial companies on Wall Street say it. Social Security has to change. It used to, like, you would retire at 65, you would take Social Security for 2 years, and then you would die. That's how Social Security was formed. That's what it was that was the benefit it was intended or planned to provide. But then we started living longer. We lived to 75, we lived to 80. Now we're living to 85, and they think we're going to live longer than that too. Social Security wasn't meant to do that. So retirement has to be something you do yourself. And I think annuities, life insurance, a combination of both, make your money work harder, make your money work smarter. You leave it in a bank, they're going to give you a nice little something small percentage for holding, allowing them to hold your money and make money hand over fist on it. You take a look at an annuity, take a look at life insurance, talk to a financial professional who studies these products, who understand how to best position you, not just during accumulation, but on the tail end of things. Agents like you who know how to navigate clients through an exit strategy. All right, I'm done accumulating. Now what do I do with it?
Exactly. It's so funny you said that, Mark. I actually have a client right now who is convalescent, cannot do more than 2 of the activities of daily living. And we're actually going to try to, there's a rider where it's a nursing home rider, and it also has a terminal illness rider where we can pull some of the money out without any penalties so that they can use it for care. And some people, I want to say, I can see Trisha, Tasha, Vital is watching, and a bunch of other people is watching. Welcome to Tuesdays with Terrence, and all the others that I did not call you out. Welcome to Tuesdays with Terrence. My special guest is Mr. Mark Creighton. We got a couple minutes left, and we're talking about the importance of life insurance and annuities. You all don't even understand with your 401ks when you retire, why are you leaving it in those companies like Fidelity and Vanguard and and the Principal? I can help you leverage that where you have guarantees you will never lose a penny, and you participate in the gains of the market without being in the market. And I can do that. You don't want to talk to me? There's a plethora of people you can talk to. There's someone who sent me a text. He'll probably watch this on Sunday. Last year, I tried to get an appointment with them. They had every excuse in the world. And they saw something about their TSP, which is a thrift savings plan, the federal government program. I said, sure, I would love to help you. Get on my calendar. Okay, I will help you. Well, let's talk. But what I'm not going to do, I give enough information on Tuesdays with Terrence to pique your interest, to light a fire, and to trigger. But if you don't trust me, you can't do business with me. And that's okay. And if you don't trust me, don't do business with me. Do business with people you trust, but don't ask my advice either, because you don't trust me. Why would you ask? If I don't trust you, Mark, I don't want your advice. I don't. Here goes our closing point, Mark. Tuesdays with Terrence is a financial services show. I make fun. I crack jokes. My Celtics won the championship. I dance. But in reality, financial services using life insurance and annuities, everybody should be using it. And even if you have some health challenges, there are some companies that I can use to help you, even with serious illnesses. The key here is putting something in place. So, Mark, in closing, you have a minute and a half to tell the people why they should talk to someone like Terrence Bardui.
If you need to fix your sink, well, no, that's a bad example because I've done that. So when you're looking for professional advice, how much should you trust the social media out there? And there's a bunch of things. Hey, I've learned how to do a couple things through Google. That's great. YouTube videos, that's great. But remember, when you're out there, we live in an age of disinformation. And to be non-political, because this is a bipartisan problem, I don't trust a single word any politician says. Everything they say is disinformation.
I agree.
Everything is about their own benefit, not yours, not mine, not everybody listening on TV or on this podcast. So disinformation exists out there in the social media world too. When you go and Google something, take a look at it, listen to what the person says, take everything with a grain of salt. When I need my car fixed, I'm not going to my dishwasher guy saying, hey, you know how to fix things, fix this. Hey, I heard you say this. No, talk to a professional. A professional, my friend H, he is well-versed, not just in my product. I would love him to only sell mine, but that's not real. My product works in a specific situation for specific people in specific moments. But he's going to talk with you. He's going to meet with you. And if it's not him, it's another financial professional. Talk to them. They know what products are out there, and they are they make their living. Their reputation is based on providing sound, financial, thorough advice to get you where you want to go.
Wow. His name is Mr. Mark Creighton, Regional Vice President with Mutual Trust Life Solutions, a Pan-American company. My name is Terrence Bardui. Some people call me H, some people call me Havis, some people call me Terrence, some people call me Mr. Bardui, and some people call me Little Boy. If you're from the Commonwealth of Dominica, that's Luku Boy, the enclave of Point Michel, La Pointe, Whitey Kubuli, the Commonwealth of Dominica. Dominica made me. Boston raised me. Now the South sustains me. You don't have to be a star to be on my show, but tonight I had a superstar. Mark, I want to thank you so much. It's 8 o'clock. I have a team meeting in 5 minutes. I want to thank you so much for Mark. I want to thank you so much. Stay on the line for a couple minutes while I put you in the green room. Thank you, sir. God bless you, Mark.
Thank you, H, and thank you, everyone.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Folks, that was Mr. Mark Creighton, Regional Vice President with Mutual Trust. He just dropped nuggets. He gave you all the good things you need to know. Listen, man, you don't have to be a star to be on my show. You don't have to have $1 million to be on my show. But what I do know is you need to be not just on my show. You need to make a decision. I will help you. If you don't want me to help you, I can find someone to help you. Folks, listen to me. I live this thing. I eat this thing. I breathe this thing. There's nothing else I do. I don't fry chicken. I don't do hair on the side. Nothing. That's all I do. If you need my help, my number is scrolling on the bottom. I can help you. If you don't want me to help you, say, you know what, I like you as a friend, but I don't want you to know my business. I will refer you to someone else and they can do you, because I know some psychologist friends of mine who will not take people that they know as clients. And some people, but what I do know is I'm the best at what I do. I'm willing to help you. Come on board. Here's our theme song as we close. Good night, everybody. Like and share. God bless you. Good night, everybody. Tuesdays with Terrence. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in. I love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Good night. One love. Boston Celtics. World Champs 2024.
Family, come as you are with just your heart, and I'll help you win. Are you rejected or hurt? Send me your word, much more than you put in.
I don't need no superstars, but I had one tonight.
Now I don't need no superstar, 'cause I'll accept you as you are. You won't be denied, 'cause I'm satisfied with the help that I can provide. You don't have to be rich family to be on my show. You don't have to have $1 million family to be on my show.
Boom. Good night, everybody. God bless you. Mark, thank you again. Let me end this podcast. Hasta la vista, babies.